Thanks for starting your Wednesday morning with us here on 9 News at 6. I'm Corey Rose.
And I'm Drew Carney. Before we go anywhere else with your news headlines, we do want to talk about today's weather impact forecast. We could see some more severe weather later today before things really dry out this weekend. With all that in mind, let's bring Katie into the mix here. Katie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Great.
All right, happy Wednesday. Kicking off things pretty quiet, but yes, we do have the risk of a few more scattered thunderstorms developing, first in the high country, spreading across the plains, a lower risk of severe storm activity, but we will be watching out across eastern Colorado. From Ray to Sterling and Julesburg, the northeastern corner of the state has a marginal risk of a few strong to even severe warned thunderstorms. A lower risk here across the Denver metro area. This morning, it's a mix of sun and clouds and really pleasant outside. High 50s to low 60s currently, but a marginal risk indicated here by the shades of green. You can see over the northeastern corner of Colorado, they'll be brief and isolated in nature, the storms that do form later on. No weather worries if you're heading out to Denver International Airport this morning. Winds are calm, skies are partly cloudy, will be dry into about midday, upper 70s by that point, and daytime highs in the low 80s. A few brief showers, an isolated thunderstorm really popping up and spreading over the I-25 corridor where temperatures will be in the 80s by that point after about 1 p.m. So for this morning, quiet conditions. By 8 o'clock, we'll be clearing out really quickly. So just for about 1, here's 2 p.m. downtown Denver to DIA up near Fort Collins, Greeley. Storms will intensify at times over the northeastern plains, and then it'll calm down and clear out for tomorrow morning. Sunshine, a ridge of high pressure, and we are expecting to see some toastier temperatures through the end of the week and into the weekend, you guys.
How hot are we talking this weekend?
We're looking at 90s. Ooh. So Friday around 90 degrees and sunny, not talking storms, and low and even mid 90s Saturday and Sunday. Pool weather, totally. Water world, maybe go to the mountains, it's more comfortable.
I believe that's the first time we would see 90 this entire calendar year, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Okay. Before we get to those hot temperatures, though, we do want to talk about the possibility of severe weather today, although the threat level not quite as high as we saw on Monday or on Tuesday.
Right. So if you've ever wondered why some days are worse than others, Jaden Knowles is live this morning to explain why. Good morning.
Well, good morning. Yeah, this is a great example of the reason why we're not seeing severe weather. I mean, overall, every day that we see severe weather, there's that opportunity that we don't see severe weather as well. So as meteorologists, we look at many ingredients in the atmosphere to determine if a storm will be weak or if a storm will be strong, producing large hail, damaging winds, and of course, tornadoes. So if you go ahead and take a look at your screen there, you can see when forecasting severe weather, we look for a combination of moisture, instability, lift, and also wind shear. Now, Monday, those ingredients were coming together more favorably across parts of Colorado, which is why the severe weather threat was so high, and of course the reason why we saw all of that accumulating hail. But today we still have enough moisture and energy for thunderstorms to develop, but some of the ingredients that help storms organize and become severe won't be as strong. That means while a few strong storms are still possible, widespread severe weather appears less likely at this time. Now, this is a reminder that not all thunderstorms are created equal, and small changes in the atmosphere can make a big difference on how storms behave. So of course we'll continue to fine-tune that forecast, because even on a low-risk day like today, we still have that possibility of seeing maybe some small hail and some gusty winds, and possibly, especially over towards the eastern plains, spin-up tornadoes are possible as well. But overall, there's a big difference between, every storm day that we see. Every day that we see is not going to be severe. So live in Denver, Jaden Knowles for 9 News.
Thank you so much for your reporting. A live look right now for anyone taking 270 at Vasquez for your Wednesday morning. Traffic volume has definitely picked up in this area, trying to head into I-25 or I-70. But good news, no crashes to report across the metro, especially in the eastern plains or the high country. So I do want to switch things over to our main maps, kind of show you what we're seeing across the metro. So along 270, where I just showed you that traffic volume start to pick up, that's kind of where we're seeing those slowdowns at the moment. And you could see we're changing right now with those drive times, especially if you're heading down York, Quebec, as well as Vasquez from I-25 heading into I-70, taking the 270 corridor. Right now, for anyone taking I-25 from downtown to the tech center, you're only looking at a 12 to 11-minute drive.
All right, thank you, Brianna. In our top headlines here, the Anti-Defamation League is condemning a social media post by a group that claims to be made up of students at CU Boulder. That post applauded the man convicted in last year's deadly anti-Semitic firebombing attack at the Pearl Street Mall. The group named Boulder Students for Justice in Palestine called the attack, quote, "chickens coming home to roost." They said the attackers' decision to hurl Molotov cocktails at a group of demonstrators was the, quote, "only sane response available to a rational human being." CU stripped the group of its recognized status back in 2024 and called this recent post abhorrent. But a First Amendment attorney says CU really can't do much else about this. The group, by the way, behind the post did not respond to a request for comment. In other headlines here, voters got their first chance to see a policy debate between the Republican candidates for governor last night here on 9 News.
9 News political reporter Marshall Zellinger co-moderated the debate and asked about one of the biggest challenges for the future governor, the budget.
Since it was the first time the three candidates shared a debate stage together, we expected personality moments. But the next potential governor of the state will have to govern and not just perform. Victor Marks, on the topic of budget, said he wants to audit every state department, but the state auditor already does that every year. Marks told me he doesn't trust the state to audit the state.
I opened up the long bill the other day and started looking at it and thought, pretty complicated.
Not for me.
Is that an apology?
No, I said not for me.
I think getting the right eyes on it, doing the right audits will help keep people accountable.
That was State Senator Barb Kirkmeyer you heard say, not for me. She sits on the powerful Joint Budget Committee, which gets to write the budget every year. She supports a potential ballot issue that would require the state to spend $700 million on roads every year. That could come at the expense of K-12 education or even Medicaid. But she tells me it wouldn't because she believes the state simply has a spending problem, not a revenue problem.
What has happened over the course of the last 4 years that I've been on the Joint Budget Committee is the governor comes in with a budget request that is not balanced, and then I have to sit there and fight with Democrats for about 6 months to get it into line, and we have to determine where our priorities are. And they like to go off and spend money on things that we shouldn't be spending money on, basically, that are not core functions of government.
In his 4 years in the legislature, State Representative Scott Bottoms has had one bill make it past the first step in the process, and that is a commemorative license plate that became law. He says he can save $20 billion by doing away with two major ways residents in this state fund the state.
The ability to accomplish this across the state is not that big of a deal. We do have those, so property tax does go into county, and income tax goes into the state. I actually want to do away with both of them.
To cover the money lost in no property taxes or income taxes, he said he would end funding for abortion, transgender surgeries, and illegal immigrant programs. That gets to about 0.5% of the $20 billion. We tried to extract what we could from the candidates from a policy standpoint and not just quips that look good on social media. Reporting from the University of Denver, I'm Marshall Zellinger, 9 News.
If you'd like to see more on last night's debate, including the candidates' thoughts on affordability, immigration, and Tina Peters, you can watch the full hour-long debate anywhere you stream 9 News. And then coming up tomorrow night, you're going to hear from the Democratic candidates running for governor. Senator Michael Bennet and Attorney General Phil Weiser will debate at 6 p.m. on 9 News. Colorado has recorded its first case of West Nile virus this season. It happened to a person living in Jefferson County. West Nile spreads through bites from infected mosquitoes. Most people who get it won't feel sick. Mild symptoms include fever, headaches, body aches, and tiredness. In rare cases, though, it can cause serious illness. Jeffco officials say it's unusually early to be seeing a case.
Water and warm temperatures play into the growth of positive pools of mosquitoes. With our warmer winter, our very wet May, really, or late May that we had, it could be that we are starting to see an earlier development.
You can lessen the risk of West Nile with a few precautions. Get rid of standing water around your property, wear long sleeves when working outdoors, and use insect repellent with DEET.
Colorado leaders say they're working to make state mental health services more accessible, and they're doing that by consolidating crisis support into one network. The Behavioral Health Administration says it's phasing out the Colorado Crisis Services line. Instead, they're migrating those services to the 988 mental health line. Starting Friday, the Colorado Crisis Services website and phone line will redirect people to 988 Colorado. 988, by the way, is a free 24/7 service that connects people with trained mental health specialists.